Alright, what we're going to do is I'm going to make it fair. And I'm actually going to take up for educators and teachers. What we're going to do is we're going to identify your what you're up against. Okay? I'm pretty sure you can see the brain over there in the right corner. But what we're going to do is talk about the fluids in the brain. We can talk about the moon too, and potassium phosphate, but we have to, which is caliphos. There's more caliphos in the brain, which is a cell salt. There's 12 systems of the body, and there's 12 salts that go with each. When you get cremated, if you get cremated, anyone that does, what's left in the ashes and the remains is all cell salts, all 12 of them. And it goes way back in history. It's just something that you've never been taught. Isn't that crazy? Even at the end of the day, when it's all burned up in a furnace, the elements that we come from is right there all burned up. And we do not have a clue about. And my whole job now, being a lawyer in the maritime system. What was that? So what we're going to do is, because see, look, when you have energy drinks, okay, and the way that they're just so pushed, massively pushed, what are you doing, dude? What do you think that alone does to that? Seriously. Come on. Yeah, you can't see it. Okay, all right. This is what we'll do is this. Okay. As a teacher, we've got to learn terminology. Okay? Material is going to go into matter, and then it's going to go into mother, because it has to do with earth. Because the material is going to be the elements. Okay, your, silica, your potassium, chloride. Listen, it's like what we, oxygen, hydrogen, helium. What the teachers and what we know as is material is we're going to go over the material in your books. Do you see what I mean? So right off the rip, we have no idea who we are, period. Listen, it's hard to see, because if we're going to look at this from secret society terms, this over here is going to be exoteric. This is hidden. This is for the masses. Okay, I know this is, we're trying to throw in a lot of knowledge into one lick. Because it's, but here's the deal is, energy. Well, why wouldn't there be energy there to begin with? Well, okay, then we've got to look at the nervous system. Okay, which would be the caliphos, potassium phosphate. There's going to be more of that in the brain than any other of the cell salts. And see, these we already know is this. Chemicals. Okay, well, the brain is made of 90% fluids. Water. And as an educator, you already know that you've already been spit through a system too that never was educated about water at all. Not only you don't learn how to swim, but we're not going to teach you about it either. Remember, you come from monkeys, so we're going to make sure we're going to ingrain that in you. Well, what makes us remember anything? Well, see, let me teach you something right quick. Okay, this is the cerebrum, right here. This is the memory bank. This is the cerebellum. When they say Jesus is in your heart, they're talking about here. This is our ego brain. You've got more than just one brain. And they teach a whole different world. And this is the gray pia matter. But, you know, you've got this oil. The same way the oil in a vehicle vibrates on a certain calibration is the same way the oil, the cells, the salts combined with what you consume, breathe in, the fresh air. Air goes in and ignites the whole cavities. Runs you like a battery. Pineal and pituitary gland, positive and negative. Okay, they come out of the they cross at the base of the medulla oblongata, the base of the skull. Okay, and it's blue and red is what it is actually. That's why you have Prime, Amazon Prime. It's blue, Bluetooth. You heard about the blue roofs, the blue umbrellas and all that. Well, Pepsi, blue and red. Domino's, blue and red. All this stuff, it disconnects the battery and the function and all that. The occipital lobe, which is here in the back, which is our vision. When we see something as a child, the brain, the cerebrum, the memory bank, the computer comes from it, the RAM, cerebrum, memory. The child sees visual, Disney and all this and coming in, and as the brain is growing, so is the occipital lobe, visual imagination into a reality that's false. While the sensorium organ, senses and faculties, is developed inside, nervous system inside with chemicals from day one. We got to keep them safe. So this is a machine from day one geared through what it is inputted with. Programming. All these programs. You got a program. We're going to a program this evening. And we've been so conditioned to it. So what we're doing now is we're actually doing it's a form of eugenics. It's whenever generations just keep going and going and going off of what they've seen their whole existence, based off of a reset, a beginning, a new world, a new era. The rising of the dawning of a new day, as they say. The rising of a new dawn, or what is it? This is something between me and them. What is it? I can't remember. So, you know, if we're talking about, because see, when you're an embryo, okay, when you're an embryo, they don't teach you this. There's stages. Everything's in 7 heptamods, 7s. Everything happens in 7s. You're in a big cell. Dude, listen, God's a whole genius of geometry. You're like, listen, everything is geometrical. Even you, your whole anatomy and everything. You're perfect. You're an image of God. And y'all have no idea who you are. You don't have a clue of who you are. Because from day one, the brain, this is generational from, you got to remember, from very controlled to where it's like poverty was created, slavery, all that stuff. It's all illusional programming, you know, to create this thing of materialism. Materialism, we got to go buy material, we got to have material, and materialism is obsession, which is sorcery. Okay, but the thing is the brain starts out You know, we're going to teach you how to read, but these are newspapers and magazines that the controllers controlled. So all this in the beginning got that, had Offspring, Offspring, radio, newspapers, magazines, computers, TV coming and all this. And then, you know, all these generations, all they had was just the TV. That's all these people made. And they made everything horrible. Listen, you don't understand. This system that you're in has been going on for a long fucking time. It's the biggest slave system ever devised. Okay? Ever. And you do not understand something. Your system of slavery comes to you through a fucking TV in Hollywood. And they got actors out there telling you how real this is it. Yeah. Real slavery is when you get rid of it and then blame motherfuckers that you raised to, in time, use them as an scapegoat while they're still taxing us. Listen, you don't have a clue of who you are. So that brain develops just like a monarch butterfly. It's magnetic. How does anything know where to go when it hibernates when it ain't never been there? Because it's got a code. It's got a code that you can't see, just like that time clock. That's the moon and the sun. That's the hour hand and the minute hand. You can't see time, but it's there. Where'd that come from? Man, get rid of that shit. Here's that. What time is it? Just look. We know what numbers are. Ooh, where does that come from? Shadows. Sundials. Do you see what I mean? So, and even they still had those around, but eventually they're going. So when you can see how generationally that offspring has been spit out with toxins and poisons, never even knowing who they are. And that's just one small example of everything in the stores. The resources, this has been designed to go there and get it, not to defend for itself. Okay? This. So it's just like a computer program. And see, when they cut those resources, they'll just be just like a damn cockroach scattering. The lights come on. Because see, this is all light. Everything up here has got to have the right material to make this run and to make it think and to make it critically think. But if it's never activated at a young age, then there's no hope. And most people, everything in here has came through, you know, a cube. Okay, so it's not necessarily the child's fault. It's the generational toxic poisoning of the mind of the masses of Goyim who we keep talking about. You know, so, you know, as a teacher, I'm taking up for you. It's not your fault. You don't know any of this right here. People in the medical industry don't even know any of this shit right here. Nothing. They have no idea that all this right here, the vehicle comes from this. The computer comes from this. This is the motor. The cerebrum is the motor. This is the transmission. Thick oil, thin oil. Yeah, it's very easy. This is the house. This is the attic brain. This is the cellar brain. There's a cloister in there, claustrum. Cloister is going to be the closet because the secretion is there in there has more cali-phos in it than anything. See, some of y'all's waiting. There's like, hell, you don't know what he's saying. Bam. You know, and the pineal gland produces a yellow-like fluid and the pituitary produces like a white milk-like fluid. And when those combine, positive and negative, just like the cord, electrical cord, spinal cord, this is the elevator because the Santa Claus and all that shit comes from this. And the elevator is bringing that fluid up there. And when you don't have the fluid ever, it stays down there. And so the body, when you don't know your salts, all this is deficient down here, and so it starts sucking from the brain because the cerebrospinal system is the first to develop, and from it produces everything from cells inside the woman, the embryo. Y'all don't know shit, nothing. For 2 months, the cerebrospinal system in the mama's tummy is charging. It's charging the rest of the anatomy for 2 months, for 8 weeks. That's why the school system don't know shit. You don't know anything. That's why when the women don't know anything and they sit there, it cuts the blood vessels off and certain fluids, and then there's your diseases. By design. So I'm taking up for you, but you'll be like, nope, he's not taking up for us. Listen. This is where it is right here. Okay? It's generational toxicity is what it is. Poisoning. This fluid has been corrupt for generations. So it's nobody's fault, and this is where we are. I love you.